Shalom. I want to start by giving all the praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Baruch HaKodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone who rule well, and as always, peace and salutations to all the fellow laborers of the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. And I'm just responding to this video, and it's entitled, Women Ask Edomite People if they have asked their grandparents if they ever attended any lynchings. And, I don't have any precepts written up. It's just, me flowing in the spirit, kind of like an impromptu. But I'm gonna definitely play the video and do like a response to it, because I know we at that time, man, and a lot of these Edomites, they're feeling the heat because they're dealing with the brunt of the reproach that they have to catch from what their forefathers have done, and the scriptures even say it. When you go here to Sirach, the 41st chapter. Let's go there real quick. Sirach 41. In verse 6, it says, the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. The children will complain of an ungodly father, because they shall be reproached for his sake. And that shame that came from the heinous crimes, terroristic, actions towards the children of Israel, they're suffering that reproach, and it's shameful. All right, and a lot of Edomites, they're feeling it. They're feeling the shame because of their violence against their brother Jacob. It says that in the prophecy, shame shall cover them. All right, it's all coming out. You even have this docu-series called Everything's Gonna Be All White, and you already know it's gonna go into the history of the many facets of racism, the history of discrimination and all type of things that this devil does. I just saw a video last night where you had a Edomite. He confronted a Jake, and he got all in his face, and he was threatening the Jake. So Jake had to defend himself. They ended up getting into a fight, and the police came and stopped the fight. But Jacob, they threw him to the ground, put cuffs on him, and they left the Edomite. They just left him just sitting there. They didn't rough him up, and it went viral. So things like this is all coming out. All right. So anyway, let's play the video.
For white people, do y'all ever ask your grandparents or parents if they ever attended any lynchings?
Some of y'all's getting on here lying, and some of your grandparents and great-grandparents has lied to you. Because if all of our ancestors got along with everybody, there wouldn't have been racism. So let me be one of the first to come on here and tell the truth about what I know or have heard about my ancestors. I know a lot of us love our grandparents, but that don't mean they're always telling us the truth about what happened when they were younger. I know that my biological grandfather on my mother's side was not a good person and was very racist. He would often tell my mom that she was not allowed to be friends or date black people. My mom met a black girl named Lynette, and they became fast friends. My mama was already getting bullied because of how poor her family was. Lynette was getting bullied because she was like 1 out of 2 black children in the school. The white girls would beat up my mom and Lynette just because they were friends. So when my mom came home with a busted lip and nose, her daddy told her that's what you get for being an N-word lover.
I mean, hey, Esau was being true. He was being true to himself. Okay, they're not supposed to love Jake. The Lord said He will put that enmity between us. Let's go to Genesis real quick, and that same enmity carried over to Jacob and Esau, especially when Jacob supplanted Esau for the birthright. But let's go to Genesis 3 and 15. Blue letter be tripping, man. Now let's go back to Genesis 3. I believe it's the 15th verse. And it says, "And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel." And when you look up enmity real quick, and the word is ayaba, and it says enmity, hatred, all right, hostility. So that would always be the energy between Jacob and Esau, or the serpent and the woman, which represents, uh, the Israelites. Okay, so that's where, I mean, this hatred is rooted deep, man. It goes way back. So our people to this day, they really don't truly understand how deeply rooted this goes back, man. And today, you got, because they're still trying to destroy the notion of racism. They're trying to bring forth that one world spirit, but naturally, you just you're polar opposites. It's never meant for us to come together or to get along like that. So naturally, they're gonna hate us, as we're gonna have the same, share the same energy. Okay, and then for her to go against the grain, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, the scriptures say this, because they think that the trauma, that their forefathers inflicted on our ancestors, going back generations, that trauma passes down generations, man. They think that somehow, because they state that they're not racist, and they try to befriend, so-called black people, Israelites, that somehow undoes the trauma, man, the effects that came from what their forefathers done to our forefathers. Let's go to Proverbs 11. Proverbs 11 and 21, it says, "Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered." Okay. And that's what Jake do. They try to hold hands with their oppressor, with their enemy. They always try to, defend them and stand up for them and say, "Oh, there's good, so-called white folks. I have a best friend. I have a friend that's white." So this that still doesn't undo the fact that the Lord has impending judgment for these people, man. It tells you that in Jeremiah, that they will not go unpunished. Jeremiah 49 and verse 12, it says, "For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it." So they got to drink of the cup too, man. All right. Ain't no way in hell the Lord is going to erase all that has been done, because they can just say, "Oh, I'm not racist," and you know that was in the past. That was my forefathers. They were evil for that. Let bygones be bygones. No, man, it don't work that way. This is hundreds of years of trauma, hundreds of years of oppression, abuse. All right. You can never undo the effects of what happened. So let's go back, and let's finish listening.
He told her that she better go to school the next day and beat Lynette up, or he would come out and beat her in front of the whole school. Mama and Lynette did not fight, and they remained friends from there. I had a few family members who were in different wars. One of the people who abused me as a child admitted to abusing children where he was stationed. He blamed it on their parents because they were selling their children, like that made him any better. They would often brag about how they would torture the locals of where they were stationed just because they were a different race. Believe it or not, this has happened a lot with American soldiers. If y'all remember a few years ago, those soldiers got in trouble for taking pictures with corpses and people they held captive. I would also find out that I had relatives who were in the Klan. When I was little, we were playing at a relative's house when one of their children pulled out a Klan hoodie. When we asked what it was, we were told that it was passed down from generation to generation. That happened twice in my childhood. When I got older,
Well, hey, not only is it inherited, it's taught. Yeah, even the scriptures say, "He that teacheth." Let me see if I can find it. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. You better believe that these devils, they're taught in their households, about their so-called superiority. All right, how they need to stay away from niggas and spics and all that other good stuff, right? Let's go to I think it's in Sirach 31. It might be 30. Yeah, I think it's 30. In Sirach 30:3, it says, "He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is, though he were not dead, for he have left one behind him that is like himself." All right. And like, for example, um, after King David's reign, and you had in the time of Solomon, you had Hadad, he fled, down into Egypt because King David and his army was giving it to him. They was straight up slaughtering Edomites every which way. So he had to flee down there. And you better believe that when he had children, he taught them what King David did. And I'm pretty sure he taught them that, hey, the Judah, the throne of Judah is enemy to our house. So that's why later on you start to see Edomites rebel against the throne of Judah. There were revolts. So I'm sure they passed it down generation, and they never forgot, what King David and his men did. And that's why we suffered all those violence, from them. We saw how they did us during the Babylonian captivity. We saw what Haman tried to do during the Persian Empire, and then of course the Greeks and the Romans. Man, this devil never stopped, and even to this very day. So yeah, it's definitely taught in the household. Let me run that back.
the Klan. When I was little, we were playing at a relative's house when one of their children pulled out a Klan hoodie. When we asked what it was, we were told that it was passed down from generation to generation.
Hey, speaking of, there was a video of this chick, and it went viral, where she basically got a tattoo on her middle finger that goes down her hand. You look at the tattoo, which she's definitely going off, but the tattoo is of a Klansman being lynched. Y'all can actually go and search this up, man. Eve crazy, man. But she actually has a tattoo of a Klansman with his mask and everything being lynched from her middle finger. So yeah, that energy is being restored, man. All right. We at the part right now where Jacob is pulling down the hill of Esau, and Esau's feeling it because Jacob got a firm grip on that shit. They can feel that their power is coming down, man. You see, they starting to feel some of the effects of the curses that's now coming upon them. There's a lot of Edomite on Edomite crime, a lot of Edomite strung out. Your own government, your own administration is funding programs to give you crack pipes. A lot of these heroin addicts and fentanyl and oid heads, they're mainly Edomites. Crystal meth. So it's happening, man.
That happened twice in my childhood. When I got older, I figured out what it was, and I just cannot even tell you the shame and guilt and embarrassment I felt for them doing that.
She said the key words. Let me bring that back.
And guilt and embarrassment I felt
Hold up.
for them.
Let me go back.
When I got older, I figured out what it was, and I just cannot even tell you the shame and guilt and embarrassment I felt for them doing that.
She said the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment. That's she's suffering that reproach for what their forefathers did. And guess what? They left that tab because nobody in that generation paid, for those crimes. So now that y'all here, who's gonna pay that up? Let's go to Isaiah 14 and 21. And it says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. All right. And as the Lord gonna cut y'all off, especially over here in America. When the Lord destroys America, that's gonna be the end of your empire. Then after that, you're gonna come back, all right, under the curses, and you're gonna serve the Israelites. All right. This Edomite woman's mom who decided to be friends and take beatings for her Israelite so-called black woman friend, probably gonna be her servant in the kingdom. And then this Edomite woman right here might be a servant, to one of you sisters. One of you sisters might beat her over the head, tell her to clean, scrub your floors or whatever you gonna do. All right, because we're gonna rule over them with rigor, man. We ain't angry enough. Jake's still trying to be their friend. The Lord said He's gonna put His anger upon us when He brings the vengeance. It's in Ezekiel the 25th chapter. Matter of fact, let me get that. Ezekiel 25. Was that 14? Yeah, I'll read verse 12 and then we're going to read down to 14. It says, thus saith the Lord power, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. He that killeth with the sword must be killed by the sword. You're going to perish with the sword. Right? And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger. So we're not even angry enough. The Lord's going to have to put His anger upon us. And we're His battle axe and weapons of war, man. So you can only imagine how lit we going to be. We're going to turn up on their ass, man. All right? It says, and according to my fury, they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord power. See? And right now, what you're seeing is, according to Job, the 20th chapter, says, their children shall seek to please the poor. You see? The children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. They're feeling that guilt, but nothing has been done to make it right. There has been no retribution. There's been no reparation for that. Okay. But she said it. She said shame. She's feeling the shame and the guilt. Let's get Obadiah 1, was it 10? It says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever." All right, for what you've done in the past, and I mentioned it in the Babylonian Empire when you helped assist the Babylonians, to conquer us, and help desecrate the temple and spoil the temple, and you went and captured the Israelites that were trying to escape in Jerusalem. And this was all after you revolted when King David and King Solomon were long gone. That was your time to take vengeance upon Israel. Then you never stopped. It kept going from empire to empire until you became, the ruler. When you ruled as the Greeks and the Romans, we called ultra hell. And then you came back into power again, and we're at the helm of it. We're at the foot, the leg and foot, man, and that's getting ready to be destroyed. Okay, and that's what this goes into, and then in the future you're gonna be wiped out, pursuant to the 18th verse. All right, verse 18, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame." And this is after the 1,000 years, after we get our vengeance upon you, right? After we use you as slaves to serve us and build up the land. It says, "In the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau." All right. And they say this pertains to his land, the land of Esau. It's talking about the people too. Just like the scriptures refer to, both kingdoms, the house of Judah and the house of Israel. That's the people. And whatever pertains to them, well, the whole house of Esau, that's regarding the people as well. Ain't gonna be nothing remaining of y'all. It says, "For the Lord have spoken it." And the Lord is not, he is not a God that he should lie. And we're gonna possess their land after they're out of there. All right. So hey, feel the shame, man. Hey, Hosea, not Hosea, Habakkuk 2:16. And it says, "Thou art filled with shameful glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered." All your sins are coming to the forefront. It says, "The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." It's Lamentations 4:21. "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked, exposed. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion." We finishing out our punishment, man. Here in Babylon and wherever else we're scattered. We're getting ready to be delivered up out of here. We're getting ready to get the kingdom. We're getting ready to rule. "He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins." But according to Bubble Eyes, Elder Rechad, the GOCC, Esau has a chance. Like maybe this woman right here, she'd be able to join the GOCC. He'd forgive them. She'd be allowed to come into his congregation and keep the Passover and all that. And he's just going to tell her, if you, continue to believe and be cool, the Lord's going to save you, and then he's going to give you a job. Or you can hand out some Planters peanuts and some juice. You'll be all right. That's according to the elder from the GOCC camp, man. But that ain't what that based on prophecy, that ain't what I read. All right. We're gonna rule over them with rigor, man. We're gonna rule them with a rod of iron. Okay. they got to drink of that cup because we already drunk it. So I'll let this play out, and then we'll close out, man.
I asked a relative later on why they were a part of the Klan, and they said to protect their family and protect our community. I said, protecting from who? It's mostly white people that commits crimes around here, and a lot of our family that has committed those crimes. But that just causes an argument because they don't want to see it that way. I would also find out that we were distant related to serial killer Pee Wee Gaskins. He was called the meanest man of South Carolina. Another big racist. No matter how bad my family's history is, my parents broke the cycle, and I continue to break the cycle. My other biological grandpa was no prize either. He was murdered during a poker game by his 13-year-old nephew. He too was a racist, abusive alcoholic. I'm just thankful that my parents broke the cycle and I continue to break the cycle because we are not born racist. You're taught how to be racist. We're not born transphobic or homophobic. You're taught that. So it starts at home. Break the cycle. You control what you do.
Yeah, she talking that junk. Anyway, you know, we'll see how her mind is when the Lord shows up, when the Israelites rise up, and when she got to go in the chains. We'll see then. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai until the next lesson. Shalom.